Hello and welcome. In this lecture, we're going to be using variables to keep track of how much ammo we've got. If you look in the top left corner, you can see that it's telling me the ammo value, and each time I fire, it is decreasing that value. Let's dive in and find out how variables help us do this. So we're going to need variables in order to keep track of our ammo. So what are variables? Variables help us store, manipulate, and refer back to information. And most crucially for us, it's going to be that storage of the information. So it's a bit like a box that we label as ammo, and inside it we can put a value such as 20, which tells us how much ammo we've got left. So each variable has to have a name. It contains some data, such as the data value 20. And crucially, each variable is of a particular type. So in this case, the ammo box could be said to be an integer because it contains whole numbers. You can't have half a piece of ammunition. So it makes sense for it to be an integer. Now, how would we go about creating a variable in Blueprint? So let's head over to our Blueprint panel and close down the details pane. For some reason, I have that open. What we need is a different pane. I'm going to go to the window menu and we're going to click on the My Blueprint element there. And this is going to give us a new pane that allows us to add things to our blueprint that we couldn't do before. Here you can see there is a variables section and a little plus button. So let's click the plus button, see what we get. Okay, so we're starting to see what I told you. We've got a name that we have to enter for our variable. We're going to call it ammo. And then next to that, we have a type. You can see it's defaulted to it being of Boolean type, but we can click a drop down and we can see all of the types available to us. There's quite a few. In our case, we're just going to go for a straightforward, simple integer, like so. Now, what can we do? How can we manipulate the value in this variable? Well, for a start, it has a default value. If you go over to the details pane, which we closed, but it has popped back up here, you can see that it says, please compile the blueprint to be able to set the default value. So to compile a blueprint, we go to the toolbar and it's the leftmost button. There's called compile. It's got a little question mark to it. I click compile and then it goes into a green arrow, and now you can see that the default value can be set. So if I wanted to say have 20 ammo to start the game with, I can just type the value 20 in here and that's going to be the value when we start playing. But what if we want to update this? As indeed we do want to update our ammunition value as we go through playing the game. Well, you can drag a variable from the My Blueprint pane into your event graph. And when you do that, it gives you two options. You've got the option to get the ammo, in other words, to get the value stored within it, or we've got the option to set the ammo, which would allow us to overwrite the value that's currently in there. So let's have a look at what both these nodes look like. And by the way, you can control drag a variable to get it, and you can alt drag a variable to set it. Now, noteworthy is that the set needs to have some execution pins to tell it when to overwrite, because it does make a difference when you overwrite. It is going to have different effects on your gameplay, whereas it doesn't matter when you get a variable, so it doesn't have any execution pins there. And then you notice the key difference is that the getter only has an output data pin and the setter has an input one, so that you could set a different value. And let me just show you that we can get the value of our ammo in begin play. So at the end, when we've done welcome to warehouse wreckage, get ready to rumble, we can put in a new print for the ammo here. So I'm going to drag off and create a new print string node, and in here I'm going to control click my variable and drag it into the scene, and then connect up my ammo to the print string. It automatically adds in a little conversion node so that we can convert from the integer that's given into the string that's required. And we can hit play, and sure enough, you can see the value 20 gets printed out there, meaning that our current ammo is what we set it to. Now, I just want to show you one more piece of the puzzle here, which would allow us to subtract ammo. What we're going to have to do is, after we have spawned our projectile and given it an impulse, we're going to want to, first of all, get the current ammo. going to want to subtract 1 from that ammo and then set it back. So there's 3 steps to it, but the step that we're missing is how do we subtract? Well, if you right-click anywhere in the event graph, you can just search for subtract, and it gives you this little default subtraction node which you can plug anything into. So if you plug in an integer, then it will expect an integer in the second pin as well. So let me challenge you to subtract 1 from the value we've currently got in our variable. So get the ammo value from the variable by using the control and drag to get a get node, then subtract 1 from it using the subtract node, remembering to put the getter into the input pin and then just type in 1 into the other pin. Then store it back in the ammo variable by dragging in a set node by doing an alt click and dragging in the set node. And finally, print the result afterwards using a print string node and make sure that all of your execution pins are connected up in the order we've just described. Pause the video and have a go. Okay, welcome back. So first things first, we're going to control click in to get the ammo, and we're going to plug that into the first pin of our subtract node. And you notice that then the second pin becomes green as well and allows us to enter a value. I'm going to enter the value of 1. So I've got the ammo value, subtracting 1 from it. So the output is going to be the current ammo minus 1. So initially it will be 20, then it will be 18, etc., etc. Then with that output value, I want to set my ammo. So I'm going to alt-click the ammo and drag it in. And then I'm going to connect up the output pin from the subtraction to the input pin of the set. And then I need to connect up the execution pins so that the set happens after add impulse. And then I can take the output value from set if I want to, or the output value from the subtraction. Either one of these will be the same. And I can feed that into a print string node, or I can't do it directly into a print string node because it doesn't know that I can do the conversion. So I need to pull in a print string node, then connect up the output pin from set to the input pin of that print string, and move around my conversion node and connect up the execution pins. Now, if I go ahead and hit play, you can see it says my ammo is 20. And if I shoot, my ammo goes down to 19, 18, 17, and so on. I can keep shooting until I get down to 0, but I can keep going. I can go into the negative numbers here because there's nothing in my code that tells me to stop. Well, we'll figure that one out in the next lecture. I'll see you there.